The sixth grade portion of our concert, we are going to describe a journey. The journey is going all the way from the very, very beginning, all the way up until a new note that we learned last week. Okay? So, I'm going to start us off with the story. Here's our story. After we had our instruments in hand, we spent several days figuring out some basic tasks, like how to hold our instruments correctly, how to form our lips in the right shape, which we call our embouchure, how to sit properly, and how to make a sound on the mouthpiece alone and make it sound right. When we had enough of those skills mastered, we began to make sounds on our instruments. Seventh grade? Who's the star right now? Thank you. We didn't start with reading notes on the page because then every instrument group would have their own notes to look at, which would be very confusing. To make the beginning easier, our sounds had common names like do, re, mi, fa, so. And our first note was so. But truth to be told, that wasn't how it sounded on our very first day. What might it have sounded like on our first day? Yeah, that's a little closer. So, on our first day of playing instruments, we went really slow. I had to check every little thing with nearly everyone. And the first days with instruments are a lot about correct hold, the embouchure, and posture. By the end of class, we were able to play simple patterns like so, so, so. Ooh, and because we were working really hard, we even got to so, so, fa. Wow. But that was about all we could do in that first day. So then, we kept on working, and we were using, I skipped something. Eventually we discovered 3 more notes, mi, re, do, and we could play various patterns. Using those, we could play all sorts of patterns. We spent several weeks just on patterns alone. And so, like, do, fa, fa, fa. And they all told me they have no plans to get married right now, so, yeah, all right. And so, mi, so, mi, so. Song is all about me, this old man, so, yeah. And we also discovered that some patterns that we played have special meaning to certain instruments. For instance, our brass players, trumpets and trombones, they have a pattern that if they play that, they don't have to move any fingers for trumpets or move slide positions for trombones. And that goes do, so, do, so, do, so, do. They're changing notes just by changing the shape of their lips. And flutes have a pattern which some of them hate, some of them, they figured it out. But when they do this pattern, they are literally moving every single finger to change from one note to the other. Mi, re, mi, re, mi, re. And that's a lot of work to get to that point. And then the clarinets, their special pattern, which is just, to be honest, clarinets, they have some easy fingerings right now. It gets a little bit harder later on. We've talked about that. But right now, their special fingering goes from no fingers to adding a thumb to adding a first finger and then back again. And it goes so, fa, mi, fa, so. Ooh, there you go. And then we have percussionists over there. They're holding sticks, and they're like standing like normal people. Everybody else in the band, they've been learning how to blow with steady air. using their tongue to separate the notes and form their mouth in the right position, sitting correctly, and hold their instrument in the right way. It's 5 physical skills at the very least, and maybe more, while reading notes on the page that many of them haven't done before. Meanwhile, we've got percussionists that are standing there holding sticks. And so they can do things like do, 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 re, mi, fa, so. Yeah. They get bored a lot in our class. I keep telling them they'll catch up eventually. So yeah, there you go. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of our beginning up until the end of our patterns. And then we started reading songs out of our book. And so when we started reading songs out of our book, our first song that involved all 5 notes that we had been working on was called Pentastic. Here we go.